So for number 1, step 1 is to solve one of the equations for one variable. Again, that means get one of the variables by itself. So is that already done? Yes. In problem number 1, y is already by itself. Y is equal to 2x plus 5. Circle it. Y is equal to 2x plus 5. That means wherever there is a y, you could substitute in 2x plus 5. Just like if I'm absent one day, there's another teacher in here, a substitute teacher. Okay, it's either me or the substitute, not both. So when we substitute this in, it's going to go in for y, which means there's not going to be a y there anymore. The rest of the equation stays the same. 3x plus 2x plus 5 equals 10. Everything stayed the same, except I took out the y and I put in 2x plus 5. Why did I do that? What just happened? We went from having an x and a y to just having an x, okay? And that means that we can actually solve for x. We can get x by itself now. So combine like terms. We get 5x plus 5 equals 10. If we subtract 5 from both sides, we get 5. And if we divide, we get x equals 1. So the steps above said first solve, then substitute, and then substitute. We have done steps 1 and 2. Step 1 was already done for us. We solved for y. We substituted it in, and now we have to substitute this in. So x equals 1 is going to go right up here. And I would do all of the circling and arrowing that I do because that's going to help you follow the process as you start your homework. So now you're going to take that x equals 1 and plug that in to solve for y. And you get 2 times 1 is 2 plus 5 is 7. So I'm going to write the solution as an ordered pair 1, 7. So 1, 7 is the solution to this system. So graphically, if we graphed these lines, they would intersect at the point 1, 7. Algebraically, if we took 1, 7 and we plugged in 1 for x and 7 for y, if we plugged it into the first equation, it would work, and if we plugged it into the second equation, it would work. This is the one point that both of those lines have in common. Okay? All right. Yes, question. If I look at number 2, personal preference draws my eye to this x right here, and I'm going to say, oh, well, if I just add y to both sides, I get x equals y plus 3. That was really easy. I don't have to divide by anything. I don't get any fractions. So x equals y plus 3 is pretty simple for me. So if I circle that, I can substitute in y plus 3 anywhere else that there's an x, because that's the equal to x. So I'm going to substitute this in right here. And when I do that, the rest of the equation stays the same. I just take the x out. In its place, I put y plus 3. And then I solve. Which means we combine like terms. The y plus 2y is 3y. Plus 3 equals negative 6. Subtract 3 from both sides, and when you do that, be careful with your signs. Negative 6 and negative 3 gives you negative 9. And when you divide, you get y equals negative 3. What do we do with that y equals negative 3? That's right. Solve, substitute, substitute. Okay? So this, my friends, goes right back up here, And that's what's going to allow us to solve for y. So if y is -3, we get -3 plus 3, so x is 0. And again, you can write your solution as an ordered pair, 0, -3. That's your solution. I'm going to scroll down here. And like we were saying, we're going to go ahead and get this y by itself because there's only a -1 in front. So we're going to add 5x to both sides. And we get -y equals 5x plus 12. Or if you put 12 plus 5x, that is okay as well. But make sure you divide by that -1 because you actually want y all the way by itself. So we're going to divide by a -1. And now we have y by itself and know that y equals -5x minus 12. What do we do with that? We substitute it into the other equation, right? That circled material there, that circled expression there, is equal to y. So wherever y is, we can replace y with that stuff in the circle. So we're substituting in. Nothing else in that equation changes, just the y. The y comes out, the circled material goes in, so we get 3x minus 5 times -5x minus 12 equals 4. Now notice what happened there. I took the y out and I put -5x minus 12 in, but when I plugged it in, I put it in parentheses. Because that -5 is multiplying by all of y, or everything that's equivalent to y. So it has to be in parentheses so that you distribute that in. Does that make sense? So if we solve, we're going to distribute that -5. We get 3x. Then a negative times a negative is a positive 25x. A negative times a negative is a positive once again. 60 equals 4. Combine like terms, we get 28x equals, I'm going to subtract 60 from both sides and get -56. Did two things in one step there. Divide by 28 and we get -2. What happens with that? What do we do with the -2? That's right, we substitute it in to find y. So y equals -5 times -2 minus 12. Careful with your signs here. Negative times a negative is a positive. And then 10 minus 12 is -2. So the solution is -2, -2. Questions on that one? Okay. Now how does number 4 look different from 1, 2, and 3? There's no y in that bottom equation. That is not a typo. This is just a much easier problem because one of the variables is going to be solved for almost instantaneously. All we need to do is add 9 to both sides and we get x equals 8. Awesome. Plug it in, substitute it in the other equation so that you can get y. So essentially almost half of the problem was already done for you. So we get 2 times 8, which is x, minus y equals 23. 2 times 8 is 16. And again, be careful here. If you subtract 16, you're left with a negative y equals 7. So you do have to divide by that negative to get your final answer of y equals negative 7. Solution, 8, negative 7. So again, if you plugged in that x and you plugged in that y into each of those equations to check your answer, it would make a true statement. If you were to graph both of these lines, that's where they would intersect. That's the point that they have in common. Okay. Questions so far? Okay, number 5 also has a step done for us. Step 1 is already done because one of those variables is already solved for. Which one? Y. Y is by itself in both equations. But don't let it confuse you. Just work with the top equation. It says that y is equal to negative x minus 2, and we usually just circle it when something is already solved for, right? Y is equal to negative 2, or negative x minus 2. What do we usually do with that? Plug it in, right? We substitute it into the next equation, wherever y is. So that goes in here. You get negative x minus 2 equals x plus 6. Solve by subtracting that x from both sides. And a negative x gives you negative 2x. Add 2 to both sides. And divide. What do we do with the negative 4? Plug it back in, right? Really watch your signs on this one, because when you're plugging in negative 4 into that negative x, you actually end up with a negative times a negative, so a positive 4. So 4 minus 2 is 2. Solution, negative 4, 2. Questions? Okay. There we go. Am I not recording at the end there?